Are you listening?
Good morning. What was yesterday's topic, Hillbilly? What happened to the coffee, Hillbilly?
I ain't got none.
Somebody
But I
stole
got
his
tea.
soldiers.
Yeah, my wife.
That's funny. That's funny. Tanzala, hey, thank you for loving the intro. There's a lot of heart and soul put into that, and I appreciate you, Tanzila. You're awesome. How you guys doing today, Hillbilly? Minus the coffee, you must be depressed, right?
I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing pretty good. How you doing, TCG dude?
I'm doing fantastic, my man. I am good.
Yeah, Dark Raven, hello. Well, today we got a kind of a in-depth topic for simple starting methods of deck building. Like I was looking through AI generated titles, like you were suggesting, and usually a lot of the like I go through not TubeBuddy, but vidIQ, yeah, and usually everything they do like for topics is like dealing with opening packs, or like the latest topic still today is 25 days of Christmas pack openings. And I'm like, I can't use that. Then I'm like, let's talk about something I do know.
Yeah.
I'm like, the value in deck building in your format, because there are simple tips that you can follow for every format in deck building via Commander, Modern, Legacy, all that jazz. Then I'm like, if TCG dude comes in, he could throw in some advice. And Hillbilly, well, he doesn't have coffee, so he's not part of the show. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm poking on you. But yeah.
Awesome,
Tangela, but an essay in the description, laughing loud. Yep, those are show notes, right? When I go deep on a topic, I put them in the description. One, so I can copy it over into the private chat here so I can read it off. And two, it helps with searchability when certain more keywords are there for people to look it up, and it'll help bring up the video. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But first of the day, hey, Mississippi.
I want coffee.
Yeah, first of the day, we're going to get to the first segment. And that segment is, Hillbilly, you know this?
Oh, yeah. It is time for the
Card of the day.
Ooh, I went full deep on this one. I'm like, you know what card I need in one of my decks right now? I'm like, that could be card of the day. Impact Trimmers. Trimmers. This card is awesome. This card is cool for like the tokens deck, the go wide strategies. Helps aggro. Like I was thinking, I need one of these for my dinosaur deck. Yeah. This set symbol, I don't know exactly where it's from, if it's from a commander deck or not. It says MOC, so it could be March of Machines or something like the commander deck. I do not know. But this was originally printed in Concertar Cure. Man, it costs a generic and a red. It's an enchantment. It says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Trimmers does 1 damage to each opponent.
Yeah, you got red with a ETB here. Definitely a common sighting with goblins.
Goblins, gobos, little critters, gremlins, all the good stuff. Even though we haven't seen gremlins outside of Kaladesh. But yeah, no, I really like this card. I have a copy in my Eldrazi deck. I'm thinking about just stripping out and putting it in the dinosaur deck because Eldrazi's more focused on getting those big old creatures out that are barely going to do damage to a creature when they ETB. So my
Man, I'm so sorry to jut in, but you just kind of clicked the light bulb in my brain. The
yeah,
Eldrazi decks often put out the 0/1 Eldrazi spawns, right?
all
Which
right,
are essentially little mana dorks. And they don't
true.
even need to have power, right? Because so many
No,
other cards similar to Impact Tremors will say, when this creature ETBs, it'll like deal power damage or whatever. But
right,
this, it just has to be the creature ETBing. So it's
yeah,
cool because it's a 2-for-1 in the sense that your Eldrazi spawn is going to damage
mhm.
via impact tremors, and it's also going to be its own mana dork. So I don't know. I mean, you could put it in the dinosaur deck, please. I want to see
Right,
it there. But
right.
maybe get a second copy.
Second copy, maybe, yeah. Because I went through. I guess I can look through all my red cards to see if I do have a second copy, but I doubt it. Certain cards I just don't have a lot of duplicates of. Not anymore. Not anymore. And to the picture of the day that we have, I saw this picture and I'm like, this is a classic scene. And whoever did this really thought of Saturday Night Live or Christopher Walken, if that gives you any idea. Boom. I got it. And the only prescription is more coffee. I
Guys,
know, I don't
I
have good.
really like your brew. I don't even need creamer.
Yeah,
I
right.
gotta be honest. I need more coffee.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah. That's such a classic skit too. We need more
It is.
camel.
Oh, absolutely. You know what's crazy is that this skit is so classic, but like it's aging. Like in the sense that like culturally it's becoming less and less relevant
Mm-hmm.
to the younger folks. I think in the 30 plus category, it's always gonna be a good meme. But as soon as you step below the age of 30, bro, that's gonna go right over their heads, man.
Right. Right. Very true. So we need to find this meme or this clip and we need to spread it everywhere. Because there are people who don't even know what a cowbell is. No. But everybody needs more coffee.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's true. Hillbilly definitely needs more coffee.
Yeah, sure do.
Mrs. Hillbilly, it won't hurt my feelings if you walk in that room with a cup of coffee for Mr. Hillbilly. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. All right. Let's see what the comments are saying. What's the music in the background of the card of the day? It is Winning, I believe, by Nefex.
Cool.
I can't remember exactly the name of the song right now. Like later on, it will upload into the description when the YouTube algorithm recognizes it. It's free. If you go on the music Play Store, look up Nefex, Neffex, you'll find a lot of their music. There's instrumental versions and there's full-on versions with lyrics. Pretty good. Pretty amazing. By the way, we don't have proof that TCG does coffee. Then the title is a lie. It's true.
That's funny.
He also drinks his coffee out of a thermos. So we can't even tell if it's real coffee.
That's right.
It's cool. It's Kool-Aid.
He could be drinking green slime. you know how it is in Alaska. Green slime is good for the veins. No kidding.
Oh goodness! You know what was awesome about Alaska yesterday is going to a new LGS. Man, I went to a new LGS yesterday and tried to play Modern. Unfortunately, it didn't fire, but it was still a pretty cool experience. I posted on the socials, and I'm probably gonna upload a short about it with some of my B-roll footage later
Nice.
today.
Sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool. To be honest, I don't like coffee. Tea is better for me. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm British. That's probably true. I mean, do you
like
put milk
tea.
in your coffee too? Because I don't put milk in my tea. I mean, do you put milk in your tea? I don't put milk in my coffee. Mm.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what people put in their drinks nowadays.
A little shot of tequila never surprises me.
I'd be surprised if it's not in there. Just kidding.
heard that. I do tea semi-regular, herbal usually. Not a fan of green tea. Oh, I love green tea when it comes to tea.
Okay.
I love a little
Okay.
like when I make tea, I go all out. I add a little I can't remember stevia. Like it's like the
Okay.
diabetic friendly sugar. A little
Yeah,
stevia, drop of honey, put in a little bit of ginger. So good.
Oh yeah, ginger's the bomb, man. I like cooking some Asian food, and I've come to learn that ginger is one of those secret teriyaki ingredients.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like green tea.
So I saw someone mix tequila with tea and coffee. Well, mixing tea and coffee together sounds kind of bad. But mixing tequila there is probably just making you forget that it was coffee or tea in the first place.
Oh my goodness, this is the whole coffee and alcohol conversation is bringing me back to Four Loco and no.
Right. That's funny. So, oh, well, I'm going to get to the topic of the day. I'm going to get to the topic, and we're going to define the topic because, boy, got a crap ton of stuff to read. So that definitely goes for the define the topic. Woo! If you guys look in the private chat, you'll see all the stuff that's going to be read. The value of deck building in your favorite Magic the Gathering format holds a lot of learning curves. People get invested in deck building, but get lost very easily. They don't know where to start, where to look, or how to get any ideas to start, especially as newer players. I like to offer some advice to get some stepping stones to start on your journey to deck building. Like, for example, rule number 1 to deck building is understanding your meta. Get to know the difference of decks. People are playing in your area. Like, if people are playing modern, you play them. This learning curve is awesome because it coaxes you to play the game and help get you to observe other people's decks to learn the cards you might not be familiar with. And like rule number 2 is to understand the power of tempo. Tempo is learning the importance of drawing cards in Magic the Gathering, but also learning how to curve your mana values or mana costs in your deck. These are important things to learn and understand. Rule number 3 is to understand the BREAD acronym, BREAD. BREAD being bombs, removal, evasion, aggro, and draw. This simple acronym is a key ingredient to understanding the basics of Magic the Gathering, and the better you know how to build the BREAD acronym in mind, the more you can test your decks and twist the definition of how it works for you. Like knowing what bread means and understanding lets you like twist idea because sometimes you don't have draw on your colors very well. So you try to tweak it around working with what you know to supplement or make or placebo it with something a little different. Which, for example, drawing cards is not always the easiest option to ramp. So ramping in green might be better for you. Or to our final rule number 4, deck manipulation and recursion. Deck manipulation is the ability to look at the top cards of your deck and put them elsewhere, like the bottom of your deck, to your graveyard, etc. Also, recursion is having the ability to reuse cards in and from your graveyard. Not all decks will care about recursion, but having multiple use of cards to play. So recursion, if you can't like recur a card, having cards that give you multiple ways to play it multiple times is a cool way to manipulate that. It makes sense. It's a huge advantage in your game. Start following these simple 4 rules. Learn them to be better with them, and then break the rules where it improves your strategy and game plans. Oh, I see you guys don't see that. It's all in my box. And we got a late bloomer. Yo, Space Orb.
What's up?
What how's it going, fellas?
You just missed the long dialogue.
Good. Didn't want to hear it anyway. Just kidding. Just kidding.
All right, now I have to reread it. No, I'm kidding. So we're talking,
What are
talking
terms
about-
and conditions? What's this?
Yeah. No, it's we're talking about deck building in your format, like not your format, but any format that you play.
Deck building in a format.
Yep, in any format. Like we were talking about learning about mana curves, playing against people in your meta. We talked about the bread acronym and that you want to know it so you know how to break it and twist it. So when you're deck building, because some cards are not as good as for drawing, so you try to find supplements or placebos for that, or some decks are not good with aggro, so you kind of work with that. You got to twist it. You talked about tempo, how you want to learn how to use tempo, like colors with drawing are really good at tempo, but learning your mana curve to manipulate your mana curve to work with your tempo, so you're always drawing a spell you can play. We talked about recursion, or having the ability to play a card multiple times is really good. That's just kind of an overview of the long thing I just read.
We have a request in chats.
All right, hold on a second. How do I join podcast? All right. If you want to join podcast, yeah, and there you go. Bink, boop, bink, boom. There you go. Link sent to Nebula Wolf. Yeah.
Deck building, it can be pretty hard. You got to think of, the synergies. You got to think of, because I know some commander decks, or most commander decks, they got two different synergies in them. You got to figure out which synergy you want and build on that.
Right.
It's like my vampire deck. It's got two different synergies. One works, but they don't work good together. You got to figure out which way you want to go and work on that.
Like growing up in the game of Magic, the one thing that fed me the most with deck building was wanting to beat the decks that were good in standard. For example, like when ramp was when ramp was like a big thing in standard with not Grave Titan, but Primeval Titan. I kept looking for ways to beat around Primeval Titan, which was hard, but it fed my fuel for wanting to build decks to defeat it. And Mono Red was pretty good back then. Mono Red was a good answer to that, and probably like one of the only answers before other things rotated and changed the way you played the game.
Mono Red is still a thing. Big time.
Mono Red is kind of constantly a real thing. Not all the time. Sometimes it fades out not being the best deck, but Mono Red is usually like the way I can explain it's like it's how it's been said in draft. If you don't know what to play or don't know what to draft, go Mono Red and you're usually gonna have a good deck. In general. That's like the consensus general rule. Doesn't mean it's gonna be like that all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Burn's kind of a straightforward strategy. Kind of easy to pick up the concept of it.
Right.
So very friendly to new players. Welcome to the show,
Nebula Wolf.
What's up?
So
Love the wolf. That's a beautiful.
Don't ask me about my voice, please, for the love of God.
All right. So just to let you know, we normally don't let people under the age of 18 to join the show. So this is a special time for you to have your time to shine.
Yep.
That's all we could say.
That is a pretty wolf, though.
That is a pretty cool wolf. So
I made it by myself. It took me quite a while, and then I posted it to Google.
Nice.
Cool.
So with deck building, we find a lot of in deck building we find a lot of quirks that come into play. A lot of quirks that happen to get in our way. So Stacey, what is something you do that when you're deck building that you always think about first and foremost when it comes to wanting to build a deck?
Well, I mean, outside of just me just going to like MTG Goldfish or something like that and finding out what the best decks are in the meta decks, etc. If I'm gonna build like a raw like deck from scratch, let's just say constructed. Let's say like let's take like standard for example. Usually, what I like to do, let's say I want to build like a Jund deck, right? And I will look at the previous meta Jund decks that were big and popular and kind of review their synergies and what they do and try to convert them with newer cards or with like the newer versions of cards. Like, for example, like let's say I want to build a Jund deck. Well, we have kind of a cascade mechanic similar to Jund Cascade back in the day. So I'll try to compare it, try to get, equal value, use the mana base to help me, and then that's kind of how I build my decks usually. I mean, sometimes I build decks for fun just because I want to play with like a couple of cards. Like let's say it's like, oh, this is a 2-card combo. This would be a lot of fun to play. Let's build a deck around it and see if it works. Then you find out it doesn't work and you're like, oh, I guess that was crap. But that's just whatever. That's just kind of me messing around. But when I want to play like a serious deck and want to play test it and want it to tune it to meta perfection, or at least be able to hold up against the meta, that's kind of what I do. I look at previous decks, see what they did, what made them good, what kind of cards did they use. You're going to know a deck, right? Like, so if let's say you play a blue deck, it's going to play counterspells, right? There's going to be counterspells in the deck. But how many counterspells do you play? Do you play 14? Do you play 4? Do you play 3? What kind of counterspells are you playing? So I use older decks to give me a good reference. And you'll see that like a lot of decks will play like 2 negates and 2 essence scatters.
Right.
Because they want to keep it diverse. And then they'll play like some form of maybe spell pierce. So they're playing only like maybe 6-7 counterspells on average. But it just depends on what it is you're trying to be a creature deck. Because when it comes to blue, I think blue is a very hard color to pick to play, because you got to decide if you want to be like a blue creature deck. Do you want a blue control deck? Do you want to be you just got to think about what's available and what kind of style you're looking for.
Hell yeah, that's a good way to put it, because one of the first things I look at, and like the last time we covered it, is when I'm building removals, the first thing I look at, but I also look at like the drawing I can get or the deck manipulation I can get, because I want to balance my removal with my deck manipulation or drawing, because on top of all that, I want to know how I'm going to get to my win condition, because I try to plan that ahead of time.
That's fair. Yeah, and on D. Lawson's point, I like uninteractive decks, so usually my decks don't really need removal because I just like to combo off and win the game. I'm a combo player. And so that's a good thing too. Jen doesn't do anything well, it's just a pile of good stuff. There is times where you come across that you have a deck, you build the deck, and then you play it, and it does decent. It's not doing great, but it's doing decent. And you have to come to the terms. You have to realize, is this a good deck, or is this just a deck with good cards in it? And that's a really hard point to come across. So yeah, I get that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, it's like it's trying to understand everything you go. Because like one day Jund could be like the best deck. Then all of a sudden rotation happens and it's now like one of the worst decks because there's the best answer in that for that deck.
Yep.
And Wizards of the Coast, I mean, they did that for a little while there when it was like, I can't remember the last example exactly, but there was a card that was like insane and there was really not an answer for it. I guess mono red. I guess some people like this is probably, and this is like far fetched. So mono red was like winning like a lot of tournaments and stuff like that. And I want to say it was back in the Jund era. I think red was just dominating in general. Back
Right.
in the Jund era. We had Cascade, and they made Core Firewalker, and now mono red can't win at all.
Right.
Core Firewalker was such a busted card against any of red decks because it was just insanely powerful. Like you just turn to Core Firewalker, GG's. It was as
Right.
bad as the red ley line against the mono white life gain deck. It's just like, yep, good luck gaining life now.
Richie, hello. Justin Tierney, hello. What Justin Tierney was saying was one of the first things I mentioned. Knowing the meta is the best way to decide what types of cards are going to be good or going to be that you're going to need or want to play.
Mhm.
Is like I was saying, you want to play your meta, learn your meta, know the cards in your meta, like what's in standard and everything you can, or to know what's being played, so you know what you're going to go up against,
Mhm.
and you want to be able to be like, well, removal's super heavy. What's the best way to go against removal, or what's the way I can go past removal, get faster? Like one of the best ways to get past counter spells is to play through counter spells. And the best way to play through counter spells is have good tempo, good draw, or good deck manipulation. And so
Hand manipulation,
hand manipulation, yep.
Thoughtseize, duress. Black is so good right now. It's insane how good black is in the format. Like
Right.
we have duress, which duress has always been in the format, but you also got cards like Shuldred is so good against control decks because if she resolves, and like you have ways. I mean, there's lots of discard effects now. Like that bat is starting to see some play now. The 2-mana 1/1 flying lifelink that snags a card from your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. There's also a card in black. It's a black artifact creature. When you play it, makes your opponent discard a card. And there's like 2 other cards that does and they have the same exact text. And they do the same thing.
Right.
And then yeah, of course, Cavernous Souls.
Souls.
But yeah, Cavernous Souls is a ridiculous card.
What I do for my deck building, I don't do meta, but I try to play the game for fun. And I'm talking about arena here. And I just look at the cards that nobody hardly plays, and then I try to build around those cards, and see what I can, what will synergize with them and what won't.
Right. Well, in
I
a
try
way,
to have at least 15 creatures in every deck.
right, but in a way, you do play the meta because you're always playing arena, so you kind of have an idea what you're going against no matter what.
Yeah.
So like, because you play like tons of games, of decks. So when you're building a deck, you're always building with the mind of how to go against what you've been playing against.
Right.
Then you just try to see if a strategy works for fun.
Yep.
So knowing the meta is like the reason why it was one of the first rules or first things I mentioned in my speech and everything is because you can't just go into Magic, build a deck, and expect to win with it, because half of knowing the meta is half of taming and learning your skills.
Right. But see, I also try to use cards that nobody else plays too.
Which is fine, because that lets you because since you already know the meta and know the play styles, basically, it lets you build up into knowing what you're going up against, so you can kind of get an idea how a card works or how to work around the card. Because if a card's kind of meh, you know what kind of removal and stuff you need to make that card stronger in your deck against other people.
Right.
I've seen you play.
So yesterday, actually, a good example of this. Doing a casual game with the homie at the LGS,
Right.
He's playing a standard jank, essentially channeling, making lots of beast tokens, and then using the red dinosaur from LCI to discover, and then uses clones to make more of those, and hits a hasty boy from Eldraine to make his whole board haste. Anyways, the whole point is that the crux of his plan, the fundamental of his plan, is that ETB trigger, right? Well, me being the opponent, I was playing Mill. And I actually, now it wasn't like matching the formats, but I had Torpor Orb in my hand. And instead of playing Torpor Orb that completely stifles ETBs, right?
Right.
I went for I have a mill deck. I'm going to try and mill them out. And completely forgot the fundamentals in that move and misplayed and lost the match.
But it's you're going to slip up every once in a while, but you're still going to learn. You're still going to understand because, like, one reason why I like recursion a lot is because people do mill you out or discard your hand. Having the ability to play card multiple times is what gets me the most. Like, when flashback is one of my favorite mechanics I'd love to see more of, or abilities like that, like jumpstart.
Yeah, flashback is one of my personal favorites as well, especially because it was from an older era of Magic, first off.
Mhm.
Second off, there was an additional like tombstone put in the top left corner of any flashback cards. So it identified those cards. They stood out from other ones. And like you're saying, third recursion, man. You'd have being able to play one piece of cardboard twice. That's awesome.
Right. Hell yeah. And Justin says playing the less popular colors or cards can get you some wins if you catch people off guard. Yeah, because people in the meta kind of get stuck to a phase, all the best decks, and just play the same strategies over and over again, that they stick to those strengths. That the homebrew deck made could be made and win the game like Hillbilly does a lot. All right.
Yeah, and as well as like, yeah, I mean that's spot on. Because I think we talked about this in a previous show, but I don't entirely know. But we. I when it comes to legacy tournaments, there used to be a bunch of pro tour events that were sometimes with legacy every now and then, and every once in a while Dredge sneaks in and wins the tournament because nobody was prepared for it. Everyone was playing the meta during that time, and Dredge was just considered a second tier. But if you're not prepared for it, it can snake wins right out of nowhere. And they're like, oh crap, we don't have the graveyard hate in our sideboard. We're in trouble.
Yeah, bro, that's right.
And then every so often it would show up at a pro tour and win the pro tour because everyone wasn't prepared for it. They were like, we're not going to see Dredge. We don't need to put sideboard stuff in our...
Nobody has the stones to play Dredge here.
Dredge. Who's going to play Dredge? And then it shows up and then nobody's prepared for it and it ends up winning. And you're like, yep. And then the next pro tour that's legacy, there's all these people with their graveyard. Like, yo, we're not letting that happen again. You have to wait a couple years and then go back in with Dredge.
Thinking of Dredge, you can dredge some good deals to find Karen's Utopia to get sweet Magic Gathering dice bag like this super fast tortoise dice bag for $45 plus $5 ship. Or you get some really cool sweet lapel pins like that salty one. That salty one's just really cool. And you can find all this sweet dice bag all at carnsartopia.com. Ooh, Hillbilly showing off his bag.
Dag blanket.
Justin says Storm is the same way. Like, if you're not ready for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Dark says I'm on TikTok too. Too. Now on TikTok. Whoop, whoop.
So,
but I'm on TikTok 3 though.
Nebula Wolf, how do you go about building your decks?
Womp womp.
All right. So
Were you talking to me? Or me to me?
No. He was asking Nebula
Gotcha.
about his strategies.
Oh,
Yeah. So how do you go about building your Magic the Gathering decks, Nebula Wolf?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. So
I'm more interested in other games.
ah,
Do you play Hearthstone?
No.
No. Okay, Hearthstone is probably the closest you can get to a digital Magic. That's not Magic itself, like Arena.
Right.
That's fair. It used to be World of Warcraft. That was better.
World of Warcraft. People still play that game.
Well, no,
You remember World of Warcraft?
World of
the card
Warcraft.
game.
Wow.
Because it was the same thing. It literally was Magic, except for like it was better. Like honestly, the mechanics were a lot better. It felt like in the World of Warcraft trading card game. I don't know if you guys played it or not, but basically, mana screw really isn't a thing in that game. You can put any card in your hand face down as a mana if you need it to be. So regardless, you will never have mana issues. And then there were like land cards that you would use, and they all had abilities on it. A lot of them drew you cards. So they were lands that you activate once, you flip them face down, you get to draw, the cards or do its ability. A lot of lands had a lot of different effects. But the best part about it was the fact that if you didn't draw a land, it was okay. You could just put one of your creatures face down as a land, and now that taps for mana. So I thought that was a very, very cool mechanic.
Very, very cool. Very
Interesting
cool.
design choice. I don't know how well that would meld into Magic the Gathering if it were to be effective.
It could get rid of the mulligan rule.
Yeah.
Here's Carnes Utopia's TikTok link right here. For those interested, go to TikTok. Follow our page. Heart a video. Or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. How many is there?
TikTok 3.
Right? Or you can do tic-tac-toe. TikTok toe.
TikTok toe.
Bro, I'm going to use that if you're not. That's a good one.
Oh, that's funny.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
it
amazing.
just reminds me, like going off like TikTok 2, TikTok 3. Someone made a post, a little off topic, but Cyberpunk 2077.
Uh-huh.
Someone posted when they released it. He's like, so I missed the previous 2076 games.
Funny.
Oh, lordy.
Lordy, what have I done? Can't finish that little segment.
Yeah.
Oh, but no.
I think you do have one coming up that's the regular.
Yeah, in a couple minutes. We got the movers and shakers coming up, but I was actually I don't know if I should incorporate it, but I was actually wondering if I should do like an inspirational quote of the day on the show too.
Cool.
I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to find a picture and a card of the day, but sometimes it gets a little rough. So I'm finding a third thing. Production gets really hard sometimes when it's all yourself putting it together.
Yep. I can imagine.
This guy's like, I need an intern, quick.
I need an intern. I can't pay you nothing, so interns get paid for free.
I thought that's what TG Dude did.
TCD doesn't do things for free. I pay him in mental thoughts.
There we go. That's right. In well wishes. I am very well wished.
Good
Right.
grace.
Right. And so, I give him advice, like taking vitamin D more often, living in Alaska is a rough train. He's like true mountain man over there.
That's right. Can't pass from the scurvy now.
Yeah, he's like true mountain man. That sounds kind of like David Spade.
Oh my goodness.
I knew.
For those people out there who know David Spade is, they're not going to unhear it now.
I mean, when I think of David Spade, bro, there's so much that comes to mind. Of course, the old classic Joe Dierte.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Or even a little bit more later in his career, man. And you know what? A lot of people don't like it, but man, this is knocking thoughts.
That's right. David Spinn's hilarious. I miss him and Chris Farley too.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Farley,
David
that's
Spade
awesome.
still alive. Chris Farley, God bless his soul.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I knew. So you're in Alaska, TCG?
That's right.
Oh
That's
dang,
right.
man. Yeah, I had a friend I used to game with for many years. He lived in Alaska, but he lived on one of those like remote islands that you have to like take a like a plane.
Ferry? Oh,
Yeah.
No, plane to go to like town, and then you'd go get your groceries and such, and then you would go back to the plane, and they'd fly you back over to your neighborhood. I was
Sounds
like,
very
that's
remote.
crazy.
It's called air taxis. Yeah, I actually just saw a YouTuber. So my wife watches a couple of people who live in Alaska, and they kind of like vlog their life. And there's people who have to you take an air taxi out to the mainland, rent a car, go grocery shopping like at Sam's Club,
Mhm.
and they have to ship all their food back by an air taxi and themselves. And then get
Yeah,
back
that's pretty
on
much
land.
what he had to do. Yeah, it was really interesting and very fascinating. Yeah, he was an oil rigger. He worked on the oil rigs. So
Oh yeah, man, that's a good industry up here. Actually, it's
oh
a
yeah,
little
it's huge.
tight-knit
It's
and kind of
huge
hard
out
to get
there.
into. Like the gatekeeping is for real. You definitely have to be drug free, and then not only that, but it's the whole like 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Well, on like also as well as like you have to like
Space
being drug
Ball.
free is kind of important because they don't you're working with equipment that will kill you in a second.
Absolutely, worth
You gotta
hundreds
stay.
of
You gotta
thousands
make
of
sure
dollars.
you can focus.
Yeah, yeah.
I get that.
Just here is going crazy, having fun. All right, now it's time for the next segment of the video. What segment is that, Hillbilly?
What?
It's on the move of the Shakers at plus 2%, basically $90 right now. You got Children of the Apocalypse is climbing in the standard meta. It's seen play everywhere else too, so it's the standard where it shines right now the most. At plus 8% at 1792, you got Deathcap Glade. This card has been slowly creeping up, just becoming more valuable land. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Yeah, plus 5% at $25 even, just chilling is the Traxa Grand Unifier, just being amazing. You know, I'm like normally I wouldn't play this kind of card in a meta because it's so expensive meta cost wise. For what, but it does a lot for you and gains your life back, so that's amazing.
Mhm.
Plus 2%, 38.55. You got Mondrak Glory Dominance, doing pretty good, pretty amazing. And you got plus 8% at $7. You got Jace, the Perfected Mind. Whoop whoop. Love to see Jace on this list.
That's my boy.
Yep, and going up a lot. That's a lot this week. Is Breach the Multiverse at $5 basically. Breach the Multiverse is climbing up there. You
I
know,
actually just sold one of those a couple days ago for about that price, so I'm happy to
Nice.
see it continuing to climb.
Cool.
That's good. Then at plus 9%, you got Dream Root Cascade. The lands are going up. The only reason I brought the last two cards up on here because they had a significant increase in price. All right, now the top 5 cards going down. Negative 10% at 1023. You got Tyrannix Rex just slowly moving its way down the
Wow.
little rabbit hole of price value. It's kind of heavy in green, but it's still a strong card. Word of Forward and Haste is pretty solid. And Toxic 4, this card really didn't need Toxic to be good. That Trample is pretty solid. The Toxic is just extra sauce.
Yep.
All right. Down 3% at 28.19. You got Virtue of Loyalty. You know, this card is finally settling down after going up. I believe the Black Virtue is better than this, but this is a pretty good card all in general. Down 3% to 24.09. You got Itali Primal Conqueror. Love this card. Can't wait to get my next copy for my dinosaur deck. This card is amazing. All right, down 4% at $13.99, $14. You got Vision of Ikoria. This card is sauce and it's doing good. Then at the last card on the list at negative 7% at 710, you got Django, Seed of Empire, just chilling. Then the modern cards, going up plus 6%, $34.99. You got the original version of Blightsteel Colossus is creeping up there. Plus 7%, $21.75. You got Tezzeret the Seeker just chilling. He's climbing up a little because artifacts are a thing. Plus 20%. This is a pretty huge climb. $6. You got Flame Fusillade. I don't know how to say that exactly, but it's there. It's doing good. And plus 6%, $14.82. You got Godless Shrine. This is climbing up before it climbs back down. All right. Plus 5%, $15.02. We got Horizon Canopy. Still staying strong, still being awesome. Then I like this card right here. Phyrexian Crusader gone up plus 11% to $8. So that's a pretty good climb for Phyrexian Crusader. It was going down for a second. Now it's climbing back up pretty hard. Then this card is climbing up pretty big, plus 10%. You got Sorin the Dark Lord. Boom. Dark Lord. I'm kidding. I just didn't care for the Lord of the Rings set altogether. It was a good set though. Going down, you got Wonderwine Prophets, 32.30, down 8%.
Donald Trump.
Good. Going down 6% at 16.85. You got Seaboard Muse. This card is more of a commander card than it is modern, so I don't know where it's seen play modern, but it's here. Mindbreak Trap down 1% to $69.99, $70.
Cannot believe that thing is $70. Holy
Right?
heck.
I remember when it used to be a 50-cent bulk rare.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's still there. Chalice of the Void down 1%, so it's not really moving. It's just like sitting there. 64.418, doing good stuff. Then at 26.76 down -3%, you got Exquisite Blood. Then I'm gonna get this last card right here, down 7%. You got Greater Good. Greater Good used to be a big combo piece back in the day, but still playable in Commander, and people do play combos in Modern with it. So this card is still chilling.
Nice.
And just because Stasis Orb's here, we're gonna look at the top 5 cards going up in Legacy. Badlands at 1,198.99, so plus 17%. Hillbilly just could afford these cards every day. You just choose right?
I wish.
Especially this next card at $3,741.70 plus 2% going up. Tabernacle, the Pin of Val. Look at that. Plus 6% at $690.04. You got Guardian Beast. Yeah. Then at plus 39%, this is a big mover. 62.38. You got Northern Paladin. Woo. Then at 348 plus 6%, you got Fork. And just to let people know, just this version is worth that much. Like this version from Alpha and Beta, like there's Fork's been reprinted at a certain time frame, and it's not as worth value as this version. All right. Plus 8%, 1990.77 copy artifact. Being awesome. Whoop whoop.
Surprised to see Mitch Factory on there.
Right. Then cards going down. Cabalandra Chanos, 822.85, down 6%. Savannah Lions going down 10%, 194.99. Mishra's Workshop at 2,579.75, going down 1%. Just chilling. Down 3%, 749.99. You got Underground Sea. And Transmute Artifact, one of the best cards on this list, is down 5%, 293.31, being awesome. And that has been the Movers and Shakers.
I think I heard Stasis Orb said that he's going to buy me all these cards right here on that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'll get right on it.
What are you talking about? Stasis Orb is still building his time machine. You have to wait for that.
They've already invented a time machine. It's called a clock.
It's called a watch. No. See, Stasis Orb's plan is to build a time machine, go back in the past, and invest in stock in Apple, Macintosh, Microsoft, and Disney World, and have all the monies from them pay his way up to life, so he can afford those cards. Then he can just send the ones he don't like to you. Like the ones that might have a little smudge on them.
Why wouldn't I just go back in time when those cards were like affordable and then buy them then?
Right? But see, But see what your original plan I was describing, you'll be like in your early 20s wiping your butt with $50 bills and not care.
Oh, gotcha.
You could be literally flushing money down the drain and not care.
Maybe.
Uh,
What if something happens in the alternate timeline and Apple doesn't exist?
it could be an unlimited version.
That's
I
why
thought it
we're all
was
talking on banana phones instead.
Yeah.
unlimited value in Badlands. Hell yeah, Justin, that's awesome. But yeah. But no, I thought it was pretty cool. And like when Stasis Orb is on, I'll read the legacy cards just for him because he's more of a vintage player. And it's like his thing. He gets a little special treatment. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Whew. Anything good happened to you guys today?
No,
woke
not
up.
me.
Nothing too exciting.
Waking up was amazing.
Yeah.
Doing it continually.
I opened my eyes and I regretted it ever since.
I'm possibly adopting a chinchilla. I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind
That
of
is
cool.
pretty cool.
You're gonna be the lifeblood of that poor animal.
Wow.
Well, chinchillas, they like when they adopt you as their life tree when they get comfortable with you, and if you're away from them too long or don't give them enough attention, they'll actually die.
Oh yeah, they get depressed. This one's been around people for a long time, so it pretty much its entire life. It seems to be doing all right. Right now it's at my best friend's house. Because I'm getting ready to move into my new place.
Oh yeah. I was actually surprised you shut up because I thought you were moving today or this week.
Yeah, moving this week. More than likely, try to move in tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Then when you get your full setup, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I can't wait to know your new hours.
Yeah, same.
You know what's funny? Stasis Orb gonna be like, "Yo, Tortoise, can you help me move my stuff?"
Right?
He's gonna be like, "No, dude, I'm too busy doing the morning show."
Nice. Yeah, let me walk there a couple states away. I'll help you. I mean, I have to literally walk a different time zone.
True.
That's called time traveling.
Bro, why did you just unlock a core memory with what was that John Travolta phenomenon or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Phenomenon. Or core memories as an I try to remember that movie with the bunny costume guy. The guy can like read out of a journal to a core memory and rethink the past and change the past through memory. It was one of Stacey Orb's favorite movies back in the day, and I liked the movie too. It had Jake Gyllenhaal as the main actor.
Oh, that wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Not Jake Gyllenhaal, was it?
Yeah,
No,
yeah. You're thinking of Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Although I think basically it took. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie, but it's a movie I had to watch like 4 or 5 times to finally get the core of what it meant.
Right.
And it was very, very unique. It was more of an experience rather than a movie.
Yeah. It was,
another one of my one that I enjoyed. I wouldn't consider it like amazing, and I don't know how well it's aged because I haven't seen it since it was like years ago. Was Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect. That's the other movie I was thinking of. That's the one with Ashton Kutcher.
Mm-hmm. And he can go back in time to like change his outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking, but I didn't want to. Like when you said Jake Gyllenhaal, I was like,
yeah, Donnie Darko basically. Well, I don't know. Have you seen Donnie Darko? TCG?
I have not. Actually.
So basically, the premise of the story, because like I guess that's one of those movies you're gonna have to watch multiple times to understand, because there's a lot of key things that go so fast in that movie, and you lose track of everything. But basically, it's a story about a kid who wants to learn how to time travel. He figures out he gets the recipe for it, and he finally discovers it. But his punishment for discovering it is he has to make a decision. Either he dies and the rest of the world lives, or the rest of the world dies and he lives.
The
Dang.
ultimate decision.
Yeah,
Dang.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
it's a solid movie though. Definitely a fun one to watch.
Yeah, no,
like I said,
I,
it took it like I said, it took me a few watches to finally understand it, but it's a good watch. It really is.
right. I got a big backlog of movies and games that I'm trying to tackle through, and you bet your bippy that movie's gonna be on there, man.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's what they have to say a cult classic
Mhm.
because
Yes.
the fan base that likes it. It's kind of more of a
How do you do, Gaming Bob?
yeah, it's
Good
kind of right. If you
morning,
got the
Game
fourth
Bob.
dimension, you would if you understand the fourth dimension, you would understand.
Justin
Yeah.
Tierney says, if you
Right,
understand the
cult
fourth
classic.
dimension, you like it.
Like The Warriors. The Warriors is another cult classic.
I love that movie.
The Warriors come out and play.
I
Heck
freaking
yeah.
love
All
that
right.
movie.
So, song recommendation of the day. Song that was in my head this morning that I think you should check out if you haven't heard it in a while. It's called The Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, hillbilly loving music. He's just going to look that up right away. It'll be another turning point, a fork stuck in the road.
Gosh.
Oh no, we are. Oh man.
All right. But now, time to show.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be doing a commander game today, but I get to go. But today is build day, so I'm gonna have to push my commander game back an hour to 3 o'clock. So it'll be 3 o'clock Central Time. And if you want to play commander, make sure you let me know, and I'll send you a link to the spell table so we can play some commander. I do play the pre-con commander level. Ain't got no strong cards yet.
Not yet, but you will.
Oh yeah, in
Yeah.
time.
TCG dude.
Yo.
Shill.
Got you, dog. All right. So I'm gonna be chronically online as always, playing the Call of Duties, playing maybe even the World of Warcrafts. You'll catch me on MTGO and Arena occasionally, but actually, I'm kind of filling my plate up with a little bit more LGS action, a little bit more my neck of the woods action.
Oh
There
yeah.
is a place, there's a place hosting standard events every Wednesday. And this weekend is actually kind of spicy. Friday is a Fate Reforged and Cons of Tarkir draft, followed by Saturday, Oath of the Gatewatch and BFZ. So we're talking expeditions and fetch lands all in the same weekend. Like, I'm about it, bro.
That sounds like a good time.
Nice.
Now, Stasis Orb.
Yeah. Well,
You're awesome.
as you already know. Now, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm moving and getting ready to adopt a chinchilla, and yeah, it's gonna be a good time. And then once I get everything situated, maybe I can start working on getting my setup and start doing videos myself.
Hell yeah. Well, that means if you want, you should go over to Stasis Orb's channel and subscribe. So and hit that bell so when he first uploads his video, you'll get a notification. He has a couple of videos on his channel already. And
they're very old videos. So don't pay mind to them. I will be removing them. Well, probably not the wrestling one because that one was just really funny. But yeah.
Yeah. I've seen all your videos. I commented on them. I even went to the links and discovered your addresses and
gotcha.
Went to your houses. All the creepy stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I kid.
All right, guys. If I disappear in the next so and so, you heard
Right.
What are you talking about? If I come to your house, we're going to draft.
That's true.
All right. Don't forget later on, we got the Prime Tortoise coming at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Iowa time. Then later on, around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be playing some Metro Prime later today. So keep an eye out on that. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video and every other video you watch. We loved it. Need it. And I think you're all amazing. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all. Hillbilly, thank you for being here.
Anytime.
TC Dude, thank you for being here.
Honor as always.
Nebula, nice having you for the first time.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Stay Sword, thank you.
Yep.
Yep. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Shockwave! What is your command, Megatron?
Subscribe for Magic the Gathering and other content for evil fun.
Fear not, Megatron.